I want to open up with a quick fact about me is that I love nature, and anybody with nature can relate to this. Is when animals get hurt, it drives deep within the human core to just feel grief for that particular animal and what happened. Which brings me to the topic of today is I want to talk about an event I attended called Artie Has Heart. And for this event, I've actually got the chance to go to Cave Creek to a wildlife national reserve for birds. Birds are not my forte. I don't mess with birds, but I mean, if I had the choice, I would want one. But at this wildlife reserve for birds, basically what they do is over the years, birds come and go through due to the national climate change and weather. And what would happen is one or two things. They would either come, live at the reserve for a little bit, then fly away. Or the second thing that would happen is they would get injured out there in the wild. People will find them and bring them to the reserve, and they will keep them, nurse them back to health, and then release them back into the wild. There's those that can be released back into the wild are good to go. Those that can't are just kept at the reserve for life, but they live a normal life at the reserve. They absolutely enjoy it, and they are absolutely happy from what I saw. When going to this reserve, I noticed that we had three events, three activities to choose from. One was cleaning out the kennels, the bird kennels, and the bird kennels were used to, if a bird got injured or sick, and you found one just out there in the wild, you would use that to transport it back and forth. That's what they use. And then the second one was like the beams to the outside of the cage. What would happen is like the beams would get old, and so birds are really strong. So when the beams get old, the birds would break them. So we had to paint over the new beams, make them feel like home. And then the last and not least, the final task was there was a whole yard of debris on the back from back when the trees, like dead branches, just started falling off the trees, and they just needed someone to clean it up really bad. And I had a little bit of a background history in dealing with landscaping, so that was my forte. So that was something that I did. But going to this reserve and doing these three activities have also took me a great deal, and I learned a lot. For instance, one of the things I learned was that like a vulture eats dead carcasses, and that's basically the reason why we don't have a lot of diseases nowadays, is because vultures take care of that. And they had an American bald eagle that I don't remember the name of it, but like they gave it some name like Larry or something. But originally the American bald eagle would have been released back into the wild, but recently they just discovered that it had to go undergo surgery, and it had to have his left wing clipped due to unfortunate circumstances of an infection. And what the infection did was it spread it from one side of his body to the other side of his body, and then like after he ran into a glass window, the infection got really bad. He got sick. The American bald eagle couldn't like move the left wing as much. It had to learn how to fly all over after the left wing got amputated. And so now it's living a good life. But those are one of the birds that is gonna be there until the day it dies, because it can't survive in the wild on its own. It can barely fly right now. Another bird I want to talk about is owls. I mean, we met two little owls. One was a female and one was a male. The female weighed more than the male, surprisingly, but they both hunted the same. The only thing about it is that, like, the male owl loved cold climates, and the female owl actually loved warm climates. That was something that I did not know, a little fact that I absolutely learned. It was one bird that was in particular where we went into the cage, and we saw it. It was like a cage and another cage, but the cage separated us from the bird, and the bird weighed, I believe she said, the bird weighed 220 pounds, and it had like incredible force within its feet of at least 30 tons, enough to crush someone's neck or like wrist if it got a hold of it. And we also met another bird that was a little bit similar to like the vulture, but it was not the vulture, but it was a little bit similar to the eagle, and it was basically it basically imprinted. And what imprinted means is that it attracted to humans, and being attracted to humans is something that we don't want birds to do, because when they release them back into the wild, it basically just means that they just go, and instead of finding other birds to be a part of, they end up wanting to be a part of humans, and not knowing that they can actually hurt humans. That's what they do. So that was a pretty interesting fact. So that bird is there for life, other than the American bald eagle. There are many other reasons why I chose this facility to like help out, because I'm a nature person and I love wildlife. I believe that whenever you're in the gym, just go out and breathe fresh air, and it just feels amazing. Second thing is, I enjoyed meeting new people. However, and I say however, meeting new people can be fun, but I enjoyed the wildlife more because it was just so incredible. But I also enjoyed meeting new people. The third and final thing that I also learned that helps is like just be outgoing, be myself. It just helps with my communication skills. Like, I asked a lot of questions because I was just curious. So being myself is a good communication skill. Being myself, being outgoing and loving wildlife. And the last one is just, I'm a people person. What I would say is that to take from this event is never go out there and mistreat nature. Always explore, because you never know about the wonderful things that you'll find.